Kyle tells us if we should care about Festool anymore.
And we find out once and for all which tracksaw is the best.
This is your Power Tool Week in Review.
This episode is brought to you by Ohio Power Tool. Pro tools, pro service, all at the best prices at ohiopowertool.com. And SkillSaw, true to the trade since 1924.
Welcome back, Power Tool fans. I'm Rob.
And I'm Sarah. It's August 14th, 2020, and today we have some Power Tool news and all of the tool videos you won't want to miss. Let's get to it.
We're going to start off this week in the tool review zone, where Clint decides to check in on the DeWalt 20-volt oscillating tool after using it for 2 years. Now, Clint's a passionate guy, and he's passionate about tools, and that's what makes him a good reviewer, but this time,
This is probably one of my favorite DeWalt tools ever. It goes through like butter.
And that's real nice like.
However, it is extremely smooth.
So smooth.
You also got that sweet, sweet LED light right here. So am I as excited about this 2 years later since the initial review?
Hell yeah.
DeWalt, I'm giving you the golf clap.
you know, I want to say, hey, Clint, you do you, buddy, but I'm honestly worried about what that looks like. If you're on the fence about buying a DeWalt oscillating tool or just taking one on a date, head over to the Tool Review Zone on YouTube.
He cracks me up.
He scares the crap out of me.
He does not. Moving over to the other side of the planet, Scott Brown finally gets his hands on the legendary Martinez hammer. Previously, Mr. Brown has been using the Von Deluge, which he's rather happy with. But after seeing the Martinez M1 all over Instagram and YouTube, well, he had to have it. After a few weeks on the job site, he likes it. He calls out the ability to swap out the grip or head, but found the heavier head to be either a blessing or a curse. Overall,
it's great, it's great.
But when it comes down to getting the job done, you have to consider every cost and benefit.
Things to consider. But I'm still going back to this.
If you haven't made your mind up yet, check out Scott Brown Carpentry on YouTube.
So I was writing this week's episode earlier in the week, and I was stuck finding content for this spot when YouTube popped up and told me that Kyle from RR Building was about to launch a YouTube premiere about Festool. So here we are. Kyle isn't commonly found with a Festool in his hands, but this week he made an exception for the all-new Festool TID18, the first of many promised cordless tools with Festool features, but, well, let's call it Milwaukee prices. He compares the new impacts to a few of his favorites, including the Metabo HPT triple hammer, which he doesn't plan to replace. Kyle brings up an interesting point of view. He concludes that when you're putting an impact to work for a full day on a job site, speed and power are less important than ergonomics. To learn more about the Festool TID18 or to be a part of the discussion, head over to RR Buildings on YouTube.
Our last stop is with the crew over at Toolbox Buzz, who just launched their most ambitious head-to-head yet, tracksaws. If you're watching our show, you likely don't need me to tell you how detailed and over-the-top the Toolbox Buzz head-to-head videos are, and this one is no different. Rob and his merry men set out to determine the best tracksaw between the Bosch, DeWalt, Festool, Mafel, and Makita. The video is a long 26 minutes filled with every possible thing you could want or need to know about any of these highly functional saws. So if you're still cutting boards with a straight edge like a chump, then head over to Toolbox Buzz on YouTube.
Those reviews look like a ridiculous amount of work.
They actually are, but you don't have to take our word for it because it's time for actual work with Rob Robillard. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Sarah, how are you this week?
I'm great, thanks. So we just watched your tracksaw head-to-head, and I was wondering if you could talk a bit about how you make them.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure thing. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start with resources. How many guys actually work on these reviews, and how long does the testing take?
All right. Well, all right, so it depends is the answer, but up to 10 to 12 pro contractors typically work over a course of several days on these head-to-heads. And then there are weeks and weeks and weeks that a core group does shop testing and features and ergonomics. Then it's time to write the article, film it, edit it, video edit it. Sometimes it's over 400 man hours.
Now you chose to review 5 different tracksaws from Bosch, DeWalt, Festool, Mafel, and Makita. Why did you choose these, and are there any other options that you didn't cover?
Those are the only cordless versions that we're aware of. they're available, and they're also available around here in the States. So we wanted to focus on the cordless versions.
At the end of the day, you called the Moffell an exceptional yet expensive saw and gave it the first place spot. Is that the saw that you would buy for yourself?
Well, so I actually have the Festool in my shop and I love it. It's phenomenal. I have the cordless Makita in my tool trailer on the job site and it's great. Although I don't want to take anything away from the Moffell, it is truly a well-engineered and highly featured rich tool. It's awesome.
And finally, if a 26-minute video just isn't enough, where can I find out more?
Oh boy, that's an easy one. Go to the Toolbox Buzz website. The article is always way more information in it than the video. By the way, Sarah, this head-to-head video was 37 minutes long. I had to cut it down to 27 minutes.
Thanks again, Rob. Any idea which head-to-head we can expect next from you guys?
So I'm not ready to spoil that just yet. But if you ask me nicely, I might or tell you later.
Thanks again, Rob.
You bet. Have a great weekend, Sarah. Take care.
Thank you so much, Rob. It's time again for construction industry news, courtesy of the Construction Junkie. If you've got something you'd like to throw away, we can always count on California to find a way to recycle it. This time, they're aiming to recycle our roads. A company called Technisoil, because we all know you just need to merge the word techni with whatever you're trying to modernize, is working with the state of California to test a new repaving process that literally grinds up the old asphalt, mixes it with recycled plastic bottles, and puts it back on the ground. And apparently it will last 2 to 3 times longer than standard asphalt. A mile of this stuff would use up 150,000 plastic bottles. Sean Weaver, the president of
Technisoil,
right, said that in this 1,000-foot strip of road, they were able to eliminate 42 trucks of hauled-off millings, plus the 42 truckloads of new asphalt they would have otherwise used. Overall, the 1,000-foot test segment will cost about $3.2 million. If this works out, pretty soon we'll all need to increase our plastic bottle waste just to keep up.
That is not how that works.
Sorry, Sarah. Science.
What?
I've mentioned the robot dog from Boston Dynamics about 20 times on the show, but not today. This is the Trek camera built by Faro, which is designed to generate complex 3D scans of your job site on a daily basis, which can then be used with artificial intelligence to track construction progress, safety standards, and more. The scanner features a built-in 8-megapixel HDR camera, an IP54 rating, and runs on a 4.5-hour battery. The specific camera is designed to mount to a, well, let's just call it an artificial electronically motivated canine-shaped mechanical conveyance.
That's Spot, the robot dog.
You know I don't like labels.
Well, except Boss Man.
Yeah, that's a good one. For more on these stories and the rest of your construction industry news, head over to constructionjunkie.com.
Swinging on over to Instagram,
Boss man.
Travis from Tools by Design got a hold of the yet-to-be-released Ryobi 1 Plus power file and gave us all a sneak peek. Hugh of HD Carpentry offered a closer look at Hilti's newly updated 22-volt and 12-volt tools. And handcrafted by Trey showed off this old Porter cable pocket hole jig that looks like at any minute it could turn into an Autobot. Turns out this beast isn't made anymore, which kind of makes me sad because if I'm gonna make pocket holes, I want to do it with that crazy machine.
All right, before we go, are there any special promotions we should be worried about?
Actually, there is. This week at Ohio Power Tool, if you buy a Metabo PowerMax BS12 BLQ drill, you get a free right angle attachment with it.
Awesome. Speaking of Ohio Power Tool, we want to thank them and Skillsaw for sponsoring this episode. Guys, we couldn't do it without you. Don't forget to join us tomorrow on Saturday for another episode of Make or Break, and Sarah in the middle week for Sarah's Top 5 DIY.
So make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing.
We'll see you next week.